it's Darlene of the Leader Group, and welcome to this episode of Tip Thursday. And in this episode, I want to focus on the Form I-9. This is a form that all of you that are hiring managers should be using, and it should be in your tool of resources when it pertains to the hiring process. And this is a very important part of the hiring process. Of course, once you have made the offer of employment to that individual. And so what I want to share with you is how to complete the Form I-9 correctly, and also how to make sure that you actually have the correct form. So if you look at your Form I-9, and hopefully you can see it here, typically we will look at the top right of the form. There's an expiration date. The one that I have here says that it expired 8/31/2019. Well, if you go on the USCIS website, they actually tell you that the correct way to see if you have the correct form is to look at the bottom left of the form. There's a date right there. So you can go on the USCIS website, and because this form has been revised several times since it was created, which I believe was back in 1987. And of course, so like I said, it's been revised many, many times. So the best way to check is to look at the revision date, go to the USCIS website, and they have a list of those revised dates for you to follow. And so the first thing that I would highly suggest that you do with your new hire is to remind them, whether it's in your offer letter, your onboarding process, to remind your new hire that they have 3 days of their date of hire to provide the acceptable document or documents. And as a reminder, the I-9 is completed just to verify that that individual is eligible to work in the United States. So one of the things that I would suggest you do is give the new hire the list of acceptable documents. I know that, we'll say, just give me your social security card and your driver's license. Please note that that is not the correct way, especially if you want to make sure that you're in compliance. I think the proper way, the better way, is to just give them the list, because that new hire can provide any one item from list A that will suffice for I-9 purposes, or any one item from B and C. You can, if they do provide you with an item from list A, you can ask them for their social security card for payroll purposes, because you want to make sure that the name that's on the social security card is correct in your payroll system. So you can ask for that for payroll purposes. But for I-9, any one item from list A would suffice. As a reminder, if they do give you one item from B, let's say it's a driver's license, and the only item from C would be a social security card, but let's say they misplaced it, if they relocated, which happens, they can always go to the Social Security office and pay to get a new one, and they can show the receipt for that. That is acceptable. And so Section 1 of the Form I-9, as a reminder, is for the employee to complete. This is not for you as the hiring manager to complete on their behalf, unless you are either preparing it on their behalf or translating. And if that is the case, you also want to complete that section as well. Section 2, as you know, is for you, the hiring manager, or the employer. If you have an HR department or HR business partner, they would be the ones to look at the document or documents and complete Section 2, and then complete the rest of the information on behalf of the company. So this is just quick tips on the Form I-9. Also, lastly, before I forget, because this is really, really important, this has been a great tool for me that I've used over the years. If you go on USCIS website, there's actually a handbook for employers. Yes, so if you didn't know, you know now. So go out there. It's called the 274. It's a really big book, but it's a great resource. It's a great tool to have in your hiring process arsenal, if you will. And so it shows what acceptable documents are, and it also will show you documents that are not acceptable. And so I really encourage, if you are an HR business partner, if you're new to HR, if you're a hiring manager, and the hiring process is part of your responsibility, which also includes the Form I-9, the Handbook for Employers is a really great tool to use. And so this is my tip for you today. I hope that you have found this informative for you and beneficial. I want to thank you for following me. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message through LinkedIn, or if you're following me on Facebook and IG, remember to follow me as HR Leyda, Leyda. Thanks for watching, and remember, leadership is a cycle.